Come on, Jim. We need to fix this grant application. There are some questions you didn't answer.
Need a little help on this one, Dale.
You forgot your last name.
I've been busy.
Eyes?
2?
No, they mean color. Weight?
You mean on Earth or in space? That's a little relative, isn't it? If I were in space, I would be weightless.
You are in space. Jim, they mean Earth weight. Have you ever experienced loss of consciousness, or dizzy spells, hallucinations, fainting, or loss of memory?
And everyone?
Mental illness or narcotic addiction?
That's a tough choice, Dale.
Well, have you ever been charged with a crime?
I think so.
What did they get you on? Drugs?
Duh, I was already on them.
You a felon?
I've fallen quite often, but Dale, I think they say fallen.
You finish.
They have one other question.
What is it?
What does a yellow light mean?
Slow down.
Okay. Does a yellow light mean?
Let's get started.
From Code 591 in beautiful downtown Jesup, Iowa, this is Late Night.
Late night. Boy, you can't see out the window. It's so dark out there.
This is the birthplace of the Bohemian Resistance. We are the Bohemian Underground, and we're agitators. With producer Blake Tempus and co-host Dale Rueber, I'm Jim Gillespie, and this is the Jesup News for October 6, 2025. We are sponsored by Mickey D's Pizza and Lobster. I haven't seen Mike for a long time. We need to get him in here.
Probably out lobster fishing, or
He
what?
might
They
be.
call it fishing? I don't know.
Yeah, I think
for lobster.
so.
Okay.
The Frills are kind sponsors of this podcast. I hope they're biting. Include them at your wedding, graduation, or festival plans. Don't wait. Their schedule's filling up for 2026. They're sponsoring a traveling art show for the Steve Brown Art Center. Thanks to them for including the Traveling Art Show. Another sponsor who's been with us since our inception. What is
Beginning.
it?
Inception.
Inception.
Inception. Yeah, okay.
Okay.
Inception style. That sounds really classy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is Derek's Repair, located in Jesup, Iowa. Derek Marty is the owner. Talk to him about your car repair needs. Also, check out the podcast, What Is Up with our friend Bubba Seaman. We got to get together with Bubba Dale someday for coffee.
Okay.
Get him and his lovely wife to come over to Gedney's or something.
Okay.
And have a cup. So, Dale, I've been listening to a new podcast. It's called Camp Swamp Road. It's on the New York Times podcast.
Okay.
There was a man shot in South Carolina, about 2 miles from North Carolina. The man had cut off a guy in a pickup truck. Guns were drawn. They started chasing the guy. If he'd have got into North Carolina, they could have shot him. They got him trapped. The guy got out of his truck, was waving his gun around, yelling at him, put his gun down, and they shot him, killed him.
Okay, and it's who the other guy involved in the thing, or was it police, or who shot him?
No, the guy that he cut off.
Okay.
There were 2 guys in a truck that they chased him, though.
Okay.
I mean, if they'd let him go, there would have been no shooting,
Sure.
Dale.
Yeah.
It was tragic, and this story's about the shooting. The shooting took place on Camp Swamp Road. This guy lived in a trailer on Camp Swamp Road.
Okay.
He was 2 miles from North Carolina. It is the stand your ground law in North Carolina. They let the guys walk that night.
Even though the other guy didn't have a gun?
No, well,
Did he have a gun?
see, they were on the phone talking to the cops, telling them they were chasing him.
Uh-huh.
And
they were chasing him because he cut them off with his car. Okay.
Yep. They had 5 eyewitnesses that said this guy threatened them. But a bunch of stuff has come out since. That's what the podcast is about. So I would urge people to listen to Camp Swamp Road if you get a chance. But that brings me to I'm against stand your ground law because of events like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I had an event out on my road probably 5 years ago. Friend of mine was hunting. He came to the house and he had shot a deer with a bow and he couldn't find it. Mm-hmm. And he got me and another neighbor, and we proceeded to look. The other neighbor had a gator, and he was looking around, and he got close to another neighbor's yard, and that other neighbor came out and started yelling at him. And by the time my friend and I got down there, they were nose to nose yelling at each other.
Mm-hmm.
I knew my neighbor had a gun in his pocket, and all I could think of was, shut up, shut up, shut up,
Yeah.
shut up. He's got a gun in his pocket. And thank God my friend that had shot the deer with the bow and arrow stepped in between it and got him away. It was a frightening experience, but, you know, the stand your ground law frightens me, Dale, because there are so many people with weapons, you know, that have that. I do have the 5 dumbest laws in our country.
Okay.
They are, number 5, the permitless carry law in Iowa. You know, you don't need a permit to carry if you're over 21 in Iowa.
Yeah, I understand that.
And that's scary. That's very scary. Number 4, the open carry law in Florida. I saw a picture of a guy with an AK-47 across his back on his motorcycle yesterday. It just came into law like 3 days ago in Florida.
So you have a right to bear arms. In other words, you have a right to carry with you at all times if you want to. Is that what the Florida law says?
It's an open carry.
Yeah. I mean,
No.
not in a case or anything.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So here's an automatic weapon
Yeah.
stretched across his back.
Yeah.
Number 3, stand your ground law. The Camp Swamp Road is one of many reasons. My neighbors yelling at each other. Number 2, the death penalty, not needed. And number 1, maybe the dumbest law in Iowa is the need not to wear a helmet on a motorcycle.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Blake. I hope you wear a helmet. It is, you know, a lot of people argue against that freedom. They used to argue that about the seatbelt, too.
Sure. Yeah.
But it saved a lot of lives.
Yeah. Well, they had a helmet law in Iowa for a year, maybe 2 at the most.
Yeah, yeah.
And the argument was if you crack up and hit your head against a curb and scramble your brains, well, then the rest of us are going to have to pay for your care. And so, therefore, the state has some obligation to try to protect the taxpayer, I guess, and also try to protect the person riding the motorcycle. But then I guess it'd be the conservatives thought that was infringement upon their rights, and so they got the law repealed. And so we've been riding without a helmet ever since.
Yeah, and when I was young, I rode without a helmet. When I was in college, I loved it.
Yeah,
you know, I looked
sure.
good. I looked good, Dale.
Yeah, well, your hair flowing in the wind.
Yeah, when I did have hair.
Yeah.
But it was silly because I was stupid.
Yeah. Well, the law used to be that where you had to try to diffuse a situation. You had to back down a little bit.
Right.
If you didn't, then you were more responsible than this thing now where you can, if you feel you're being pushed, you can shoot.
No.
And I guess it's just, was it a macho thing that you don't want to back down a little bit, or what? I don't know.
You know, and I'm trying to be kind here because I listen to the daytime news shows, and they all say those liberals or those conservatives, and or those Democrats or those Republicans, they throw everybody in the same basket. Everybody doesn't belong in the same basket. You know, I know that that a number of people on the right believe that it is a person's choice, be it to carry a gun or to wear a helmet or whatever.
Yeah.
Seatbelt, you know.
Mm-hmm.
It'd be interesting. You know, at one time, the seatbelt, it had taken over and everybody wore it. I'm not convinced everybody's wearing it anymore.
Well, every year the Highway Patrol puts out a list of statistics, and the number of people who died in traffic accidents, the ones not wearing a seatbelt are in the majority. The ones who are wearing a seatbelt do not die nearly as often as the ones who, do not have a seatbelt on and get thrown out of the car or whatever. They're the ones most of them, a larger percentage of them die than the person who stays with the car because of the seatbelt. And so it does save lives.
Yeah. But I do have also some of the dumbest laws still in the book in our country here.
Okay.
For example, in Alabama, bear wrestling matches are prohibited.
Okay.
In Alaska, it is considered an offense to push a live moose out of a moving airplane.
Okay.
In Arizona, donkeys cannot sleep in bathtubs. In Arkansas, alligators may not be kept in bathtubs.
Well, that one at least makes sense.
Yeah. Another one, in Arkansas must be pronounced Arkansas.
Okay. Or there's a penalty, I suppose.
There's a penalty.
Okay.
In California, in Baldwin Park, nobody is allowed to ride a bicycle in a swimming pool.
Don't you wonder what happened that made these laws necessary at one time or another?
I do. In Lodi, is that how you pronounce it?
I think so.
Yeah, in Lodi, it is illegal to own or sell silly string.
Well, I can see that too, because it's awful messy stuff to have to clean up after.
Yeah. In Cripple Creek, Colorado, it's illegal to bring your horse or pack mule above the ground floor of any building.
Okay.
So you can't ride up the steps.
Get them in the elevator might be a problem,
Yeah,
too.
it might
but-
be a trouble. In
Okay.
Connecticut, balloons with advertising on them are illegal in Hartford, Connecticut.
Okay.
In Connecticut, you may not educate dogs.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't get that.
Yeah, so like a dog trainer or something would be illegal, huh?
In Delaware, it is illegal to get married on a dare. Obviously,
Okay.
somebody made a mistake there.
Well, yeah, so I dare you to marry that girl.
U.S. government in D.C., the U.S. government says it's a crime to give false weather reports.
I don't understand that either, but
Let's go to Iowa.
okay, these are good ones.
These are 4 in Iowa. In Iowa, a man with a mustache may never kiss a woman in public. Dale, you're breaking the law every time you
What
kiss
happened?
your...
Maybe the woman has a mustache too. See, then it should be it would either be a double crime or it would be legal.
It's a man with a mustache, Dale.
I know,
The
but-
key is man.
But if you were kissing a woman that also had a mustache, you could argue that in court, I believe.
In Iowa, horses are forbidden to eat fire hydrants in Marshalltown, Iowa. I don't understand
I don't
that.
understand that either, but okay.
In Fort Madison, the fire department is required to practice firefighting for 15 minutes before attending a fire.
So going to the actual fire cannot be their first experience. They have to have at least one practice session of at least 15 minutes, huh?
I've got to
Okay.
stop at the fire department for Madison there. I'm there.
Yeah.
I'm there once a week.
Oh, okay.
In Ottumwa, it is unlawful for any male person within the corporate limits of the city to wink at any female person with whom he is unacquainted with. So you can't flirt.
Can't flirt, yeah. How are you supposed to meet people?
That's one of my goals this week, Dale. Not to
Meet
wink
more-
at
meet more
someone.
girls, or-
No,
oh.
to meet more people, talk with more people.
Okay.
And I've done that every day.
Yeah.
It's been a good week.
So if you wink your eye, is that a good conversation starter?
I don't wink.
So what do you do?
There was a lady came out of a business that was a business owner. I told her I really liked her shop. Talked about her shop. And another one, I was in M's coffee shop, and a lady came in. I bought her a cup of coffee and told her I liked her sweatshirt, and we talked a little bit. So yeah.
Okay, just
I-
casual things like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Those are laws in Iowa. We were talking baseball beforehand, so I'm going to say a word in baseball, and I want a one-word response. Stadium.
Yankee.
Shortstop.
Tony Kubek.
Interesting. Manager.
Casey Stengel.
You are old.
I am old, yeah.
Okay. Let's go. Catcher.
Yogi Berra. So I'll go with all Yankees. Yogi Berra.
Fastball.
Ryan Duran.
Umpire.
Oh, Bill Clem. Very famous old-fashioned, old-time umpire.
World Series.
Oh, one word for just
One
for
word.
World Series. Boy, oh boy. October.
Oh, good one. Center field.
Mickey Mantle.
Batting champion.
Ted Williams.
Stolen base.
Lou Brock. Maury Wills.
All right, that's pretty good. That's
Okay.
pretty good. That's interesting. Dale, you said you had a question for me.
I did, yeah. It's been interesting. All the new statistics they're using, like you see in the movie Moneyball, how they're using all those things. Well, they've been studying everything. And so, baseball scientists, I don't know what else to call them, but people that study baseball,
Yep.
baseball scientists have finally determined why, when running out a triple, it takes longer to run from second base to third base than it does to run from first base to second base. What have they discovered?
People take a different angle.
You think so?
Yeah.
Okay, well, that wasn't the right answer.
Okay.
Okay. Between second and third, there's a short stop.
Ah, ha! Pearls. You're giving me pearls here.
Okay.
Okay. This is Steve Brown Art Center Podcast Network, and we'll be right back after this word. Center Podcast Network. I'm Jim Gillespie with co-host Dale Rueber and producer Blake Tempus. We're at Cowork 591 Studios in downtown Jesup, Iowa. Dale, what do you have for tonight's
Well, just
show?
a couple of news items. And Jane Goodall
Oh, yes.
died today.
Yes.
She was 91, and she did all the studies on the chimpanzee. And I think I said she was 91.
Do you know
and,
what she was doing in the country right now?
I guess I did not.
She was traveling the country in a touring the country, giving speaking.
Oh, was she
experience.
really?
And I heard her on a live podcast on Saturday.
Okay.
Actually.
Well, isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
So,
I thought, wow, 91 years old.
yeah, I'm still out working.
And then she died today. I'm
Yeah.
wrecked.
Okay. Also, since Trump has been president, first time and second time, what book would you think has become a bestseller all over again?
Book. The Bible.
1984.
Oh, interesting.
Yes, they've sold several million copies.
Yeah.
People are very interested in what 1984 has to say. And so,
That's a tough read.
oh, yeah, I remember that is tough. And seeing the movie is about as depressing as anything you can do. I remember, I saw it once. I went to my 60th class reunion last
that's
weekend.
right. Yes, tell us about it.
170 that graduated my class, one of the largest classes ever at Oldwine. They're much smaller now. And 50 of our classmates have died. And so 38 alumni were at the reunion, so it's about a third of the ones who are left. And we had a kid come from Florida and one from Oregon and a girl from California. So they came a long way for the weekend. We had something Friday night, Saturday, and then Sunday morning. And I was telling Dave Sabers this. And Dave Sabers, same age I am. And he said he had his class reunion last Friday in Dyersville. And he said, I was the only one there that had to take off work to come to the reunion. And I thought that was so interesting. But we have two people that came that are both working 40 hours a week yet full. And one of them is Paul Gansky. He works at John Deere. He worked for some big company. I can't remember what he did in the Chicago area, as I recall. But then he came back here and he got a job at John Deere. And he must be a very important worker because he's still employed at age 78. Which I thought was very interesting. And then when we have a student body president, Tom Donald, he's a CPA and an accountant, and he's still working full-time in Eldora, does taxes for people from all over. And so I thought that was interesting, too. Everybody else is retired. Could not believe all the knee replacements and hip replacements and hearing aids everywhere.
What?
Hearing aids, yeah, you know that. And don't you hate it when he does that too? Oh, he doesn't. He's not listening either. So when you're talking in the microphone, you got to really speak up because everybody's got hearing aids, and so heart pacemakers and new valves put in. So it's a real medical convention, and everybody talks about it. They know a lot about these things, and so that was kind of interesting to see how many people showed up, and then also how many people have had surgeries and this sort of thing to keep them going that were not really available when we graduated in 1965. Mm-hmm. And so also note play practice has started up at the high school, towards the end of the year, end of the football season. They have a week or two there before basketball practice. And so, I It was too late to call. I didn't find out what the name of the play was, what they're doing, but I'm sure somebody knows. So.
All right. So Dale, let's go back to your class reunion. You ever see the Andy Griffith episode where they have their class reunion?
It doesn't ring a bell.
It's a neat one. Funny. They organize it, and Barney talks about a girl that had a crush on him, and she doesn't remember him. Of course. Then Andy's crush comes from like Chicago or New York or someplace, and plays out that he wants her to move back to Mayberry, and she wants him to move to New York, and they get in an argument, and that was why they broke up, and, and everything.
Yeah.
But,
no, I had one old high school girlfriend that was there that I got to talk to a bit. That's always fun. We always get the Hazleton kids together, only 4 of us at this reunion out of 17, and several have died, but we try to get together at least half hour or so and just talk amongst ourselves and get our picture taken together and this sort of thing. And there were just 4 of us at this one. We had to assimilate into the old line of 150 some kids, and so it was hard. And some did better at it than others. But I hadn't thought about this, but they were saying the class of '64 would be 79 years old now. Next year they all turn 80. They're going to have a meeting or a get-together to celebrate everybody turning 80.
Cool.
And we all thought, hey, that's a pretty good idea. So I think in 2 years, we'll probably be doing that too, it sounds like, from listening to the people talk, that they would like to do that. So, and it'll probably be much more informal, not having the catered dinner or whatever, I don't know. And, if you don't have much, you hate to have people fly from Oregon or whatever. But so I imagine it'd be more just the people around this area, but you never know. The guy from Florida thought this might be the last time he ever drive, because he drove. Might be the last time he ever drives this far, to get up here. And so we thought maybe they'd want to get together more frequently, but they all thought every 5 years going to go. So we'll all be 83 then. So
I didn't go the first 20 years. I went the 20th year, and it was wonderful.
Yeah.
But I think it was good that I didn't go, because that's what made it better.
Oh, yeah, when you see people, how they sorted out, I went to our first one, the 5-year one. I wasn't married then, and I was around. And then after that, it seemed like there was always something, like it was in a play, or they always had it at a time when I couldn't go. But I think maybe the next one I went to was like even the 20th or 25th, and I've been fairly regular since then.
It's a wonderful thing to get together with old friends. It's a neat thing. Yeah. They hold things dear to your heart.
Well, they do, and it's someone that's had those shared experiences, the same teachers, the same crowded building or whatever. You hated them at the time, but they're fun to talk about. When you go through hardships, later on, you laugh about that sort of thing with your friends, about who was tough on you or who beat you up or whatever. Have real good times, and the stupid things you do where you get chased by the cops, or you're out parked someplace and the highway patrol pulls up behind you, and these kind of things. They're funny stories. Now, they were traumatic at the time, but they're real fun stories. And so you learn a lot about them. It's amazing to me how, except in one person, you still see the kid in there. One guy came and we said, "Who is that?" Well, he was the class president, a very popular kid, but he was big and bald and this and that. And he says, I know. He says, I weighed 135 pounds when I was a senior in high school. Yeah. Well, he weighs a lot more than that now. And so it was just real interesting. And he had some humorous things to say about it also, which made it easier, Right. But he came in, and again, class president, one of the most popular kids in our class, and nobody knew who he was. They didn't recognize him, and so he had changed a lot. But the rest of them, you could still see the kid in there, which makes it nice.
We had a Catholic school in our town, Cresco Notre Dame, and then I was a graduate at Crestwood, and we now include them in our reunions.
Yeah, and we had Sacred Heart in Owine, so we do that also. But I don't know if we invited them this time or if anybody came or not. I don't know.
Right.
But there weren't any there.
Yeah, and fewer, not as many of them come either. It is, I'm sure the public school then did everything in their power to stay away from Cresco Notre Dame. We wanted to play them in basketball. They wouldn't play them because they were a small A school and we were a 3A school, and they, and they said, "Oh, we have everything to lose," and all that.
Yeah, and see, that's wrong to think that way in high school. I think.
Yeah.
Because every now and then that little bitty school beat, they bite you pretty good.
They do.
And
they
so,
do. And that's what they were worried about.
Yeah, and you shouldn't worry about that. It's your job as an educator is to get people together, not hold them apart.
My junior year, we finally played them in baseball. Funny thing. I was hanging out with Larry Harold. If you listen to Larry, it's good. I hope you're listening. Larry beaned me. Worst thing he could have done, because I couldn't have hit it. I could barely see Larry, let alone see the ball. But Larry beaned me. And 2 hours later, Larry and I were standing downtown on Main Street, hanging out together.
Sure.
And I thought that was pretty neat.
Yeah.
So.
Well, at that age, if they were aiming for your head, they wouldn't be able to hit it,
No, they couldn't.
They just throw the ball and you wonder where it's going to go, just like you do. So I go tell you, I got a few things going on at school yet. October 6th, the 9th and 10th graders are playing football versus Appling and Parkersburg. And on the 7th, the cross country is at Dayton, New Hartford. And the 10th, on Friday, they're at Sumner Fredericksburg. The varsity football program is playing there. The next week, the 14th, the volleyball is playing against Gladbrook Rhinebeck at Jesup, and they start at 5:30 with the younger teams, and the 7:30 game is when 7:30 is when the varsity starts. What I was getting to is on the 16th, the cross country varsity conference tournament is coming around, and that's at Oldwine, and I know Jesup's got some fantastic runners this year, as does Oldwine, and I know they finished 1 and 2 according to Jeff Gerhardt at a couple different meets.
Okay,
and so. If you're in the cross country and want to run around on the golf course, I assume it's at the golf course in Oldwine.
What's the date of that?
On the 16th. It's the conference tournament.
Is that a Tuesday or a Thursday?
I don't know.
Or a Saturday. Or October 16th.
Must be a Thursday, because the 17th is football. Hudson's coming to Jesup, so it must be a Thursday.
All right.
And then the 20th is the regionals for volleyball get started.
Time goes by.
Yeah, it really does. And pretty soon we'll have the play, and there'll be basketball practice, and the school year will be going on and on and on. So, quite the thing. No food trucks at co-work this next week. I don't know if
we're in October, though, Dale.
I know, but still, people got to eat. And it's as warm as it was in August.
I know.
Of course, they probably could have planned on that, but I imagine some of those people are kind of packing it up for the year, wouldn't you think? Because they're mostly warm weather kinds of things.
Well, like Mike, we were talking about Mike and the food truck, and I'm sure he didn't plan on anything in October.
No, I'm sure not.
All right, well, thank you, Dale.
Yep.
I have a quick editorial here on the Stand Your Ground law in Iowa.
Okay.
I'd like to talk about. So in the heartland of America, where neighbors wave from porches and disputes are more likely settled over coffee than conflict, Iowa's Stand Your Ground law feels like a foreign transplant, an aggressive vine choking out of the native civility of our communities, codified in 2017 under the Iowa Code 704.1. This law removes the duty to retreat, allowing individuals to use deadly force if they reasonably believe it necessary to prevent death or serious injury. On paper, it sounds empowering. In practice, it's a recipe for a tragedy. Let's be clear, self-defense is a right. Stand your ground laws distort that right into a license for escalation. They replace the moral imperative to de-escalate with legal permission to shoot first and sort out the story later. In Iowa, where we pride ourselves on our neighborliness and restraint, this law undermines the very ethos that binds our towns together. The law hinges on the reasonable belief of imminent danger, but whose reasons, in a state where implicit bias still shapes perceptions of threat, the standard is dangerously subjective. Studies across Stand Your Ground states show racial disparities in how these laws are applied. White shooters are far more likely to be acquitted than the victim if the victim is black. I was not immune to these biases. By removing the duty to retreat, we remove the opportunity for cooler heads to prevail and instead enshrine fear as justification. Imagine a heated argument outside a barn. One man reaches into his coat. The other, feeling threatened, shoots. Later it turns out the coat held a phone, not a weapon. You're ground. The shooter may walk free if he is reasonably believed he was in danger. The dead man's family gets no justice. The community gets no closure, and the precedent gets stronger. Before 2017, Iowa followed the duty to retreat principle. If you could safely avoid conflict, you were expected to do so. It wasn't cowardice, it was common sense. The shift to stand your ground flips the logic. Now, if you're in a place you have a legal right to be, your home, your car, a public sidewalk, you can use deadly force without trying to walk away. This emboldens not just the fearful, but the confrontational. It rewards those who seek conflict and punishes those caught in the crosshairs. The law explicitly denies protection to those engaged in illegal activity or who provoke violence. Proving provocation is murky, and the damage is often already done. So this is Steve Brown Arts Center Podcast Network.
There's a story in the Des Moines Register today about a young man getting sentenced to 25 years in prison for shooting, and it was a bar thing, and he ended up feeling threatened, so he shot the guy, but then he also, in shooting, shot a girl that was and neither one died. But today in court, it said that he apologized to the girl for shooting her, but he did not apologize to the guy he shot. It was just, what is it about? A soft answer turneth away wrath. And I think it's a good thing to try that rather than, they're all bristly, you get all bristly real pretty soon. Yeah. You got to fight. Excuse me, is people have guns, but they're in a crowd of people and they don't really know that much about guns, and they just start firing, and a lot of people had nothing to do with anything end up getting shot. And so that's what, it bothers me a lot that happens. If there's two people in a room, that's one thing, but if there's a crowd of people and you start shooting into the crowd, why, I don't think you should get off with that. I don't care how threatened you feel.
Right. So. I live in an isolated place, and I keep a golf club by my bed. It is, probably in the 18 years I've lived out there, I've grabbed that golf club one time. It was a deer had run into the house.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, bumped the house.
Yeah.
He was eating stuff I had planted along the house.
So he deserved to get whacked, didn't he?
Yeah. That's my fear. I don't. This is no bravery as I say this, and I'm no brag. I don't fear being shot. A guy was shot out in western Iowa over the weekend. A young man. The guy I was hunting with mistaked him for a squirrel.
Yeah, see, I don't understand that at all.
That's not going to turn out well.
Yeah.
That's not over.
No, there's got to be more to that, because I don't know what the guy could have been doing that someone thought he was a squirrel.
Going back, and no brag, just fact, I'm not afraid of being shot. If there's some point in my life where I realize everyone comes to an end, Not that I want to come. I don't want to take another person's life. If I had a gun, I was that guy, and I accidentally hit somebody else, I couldn't live with it. The Steve Brown Arts Center Podcast Network. We'll be right back. The Steve Brown Arts Center Podcast Network. Welcome back to our third half of the show. Dale, what do you have? I knew I'd get a grin out of you with that, Dale.
Okay. Well, as long as you did it on purpose, I won't have anything to say.
There you go. Dale, what do you have as far as library is concerned?
Well, the library's still going strong over there, and Monday mornings, and Monday, Wednesday, Friday, they have that exercise group at 8 o'clock. From the number of cars down there, I see they must have a good attendance. If you need tech help with your phone or whatever, if you call and make an appointment at 9 a.m. on Mondays, and to tell you the truth, they'll see you other times too, but 9 a.m. is kind of a time they have set aside for this sort of thing. And at 6:30 on Monday the 6th is Between the Covers Book Club. And I don't know if they read in bed or what do they do. I don't know much about that. I looked at their website. It didn't really explain it very well to me, so I'll have to find out about that. It's hard to read. You ever read in bed? It's hard to read. My arm's always tired.
Yeah,
I just can't do it for very long. Tuesdays, on the 7th, they have a card players thing at 1 o'clock. And then at 6:30, it's AmeriCorps Seniors. And I think it's about volunteering and different things, and also about signing up for Medicare and getting advice on that sort of thing.
Okay.
I believe.
When is it? That's on Tuesday.
Tuesday at 6:30, just this one time, just the 7th. And it says RSVP, so they'd like you to sign up, I think. On Wednesday, they have the exercise group, and then they take books out to the rural schools. And I did that once when Cindy Ludwig was the librarian and I was retired. She, for some reason, I don't know if she was not feeling well or whatever, but I volunteered to take the books out to the rural schools. And I get to this one school and they're at recess, and these kids come running and say, "Hey, it's Mr. Rueber, it's Mr. Rueber." And I had worked with those kids when they were kindergarten kids for like 2 hours one time when people were sick and they didn't have anybody out there. So I went out for 2 hours and read with these little kindergarten kids or whatever.
Oh, cool.
Well, they remembered me 2 years later. I thought that was so neat. It made my whole heart go, "Oh, that's wonderful." So on Thursday, 10:30, they have story time. And 2 p.m. is final arrangements. That sounds serious, but and this is this lady's job. She goes around doing programs for people, and this on wills and cremations or funerals and this kind of thing, information about that, costs and what you need to do to make those final arrangements and this sort of thing. So we need to do that. We have not done that. Not you and me, but I mean, Deb and I.
You haven't done it.
No, we haven't. And it's interesting, you talk to people. I got a class reunion that are my age. They say, "Yeah, here's a picture of my grave marker." They already have it. They got a deer carved on the back or whatever. There's this one in Owine. It's a kid. He's a couple years older, and he and his wife are both dead. And the guy was showing me a picture. And so on the gravestone, you know how they make these engravings?
Yeah.
Where they had the guy fishing out of a boat, and they had him hunting deer and doing something over here farming, and then down in the corner they had his wife weeding the flower bed. So she got like 1/10 of the little stone. The rest of it was all this guy and his activity, and we all thought that was really funny, but for some reason. So okay. All right, then Friday they have the exercise group again. If you're interested in pumpkin decorating and that sort of thing, they got a lot of that going on in the following week, and so you need to call them and find out all about this. October is always a fun month as far as crafts and that sort of thing. So that looks like about it for the library. They got some candy corn. So Halloween is on a Friday. I always liked that when it was on a Friday, no school the next day, and the kids could stay a little later. And I don't know if they have as much fun as we did when we did Halloween, but it doesn't seem like it. But it was always one of my favorite holidays.
It was.
Not just the candy, but just all the excitement and, being outside after dark and all the stuff going on, and just a lot of fun. So, man, it was fun being a kid many times. Sometimes it wasn't, but a lot of times it was just a whole bunch of fun.
What was your best outfit?
We never had like store-bought costumes or anything like that. Usually we just had a mask, and by the time you'd been in it for 20 minutes, the mouth would be all fuzzy or wet because you're breathing out.
Yeah.
And it was just horrible. But usually I was like a cowboy, or so you could put a bandana across your face, put a cowboy hat on, and you were good. You didn't. So I never had anything special, but mostly it was something just like that. Remember one time we had done trick-or-treating, and we were sitting around in my house, myself and my friends, and we had an old wood-burning stove in the back of the house, and we burned wood and coal and corn cobs. So it's like 10:30, quarter to 11, there's a knock on the door, and this girl is by herself, and she must be, I think of her as being like 10, 12, a little older, trick-or-treating. And my mother said, "Oh, I'm sorry," but she said, "I gave away all, I don't have any candy." And this friend of mine, he said, "Here," he says, "she can have one of mine." And so he put it in her bag, and she left. And then he said to my mother, "Well," she said, "I wrapped up a corn cob with some tissue paper." That's what I gave
my
her.
gosh.
So this is the kind of family I came from. My mother thought that was really horrible, but also was very hilarious. And so that's one of my Halloween memories. So.
Yeah. I can remember trick-or-treating, going to this house, going up, and they had an outdoor porch with a screened-in porch, sort of like a Three Seasons.
Yeah.
And they had a couch out there, but that couch looked just like a casket in there. Mm-hmm. We saw that casket in there, We ran. The house didn't have light on anyhow. We were going to
Oh, sure, yeah.
going to every house we could to get candy.
Yeah. No, we went all over town.
Yeah.
And had the big, the grocery bags, the brown paper grocery bags,
Right.
and fill those things up. And so we went to this one house, and again, there was 4 or 5 of us, all guys. And we knew the family. It was a man and his wife and their son still lived with him. He had just gotten out of high school like a year or so ago. Well, the parents were gone, but the son had just gotten home, so he answered the door. And we all trooped in trick-or-treating. Well, he didn't have anything, so he gave us all a bottle of Pepsi. And we sat there and drank that with him and talked with him. And we thought, hey, we thought that was pretty neat Halloween treat, too, to get a whole bottle of Pepsi to ourselves.
Yeah.
And so always hoping. One lady made everybody sign in. She was so afraid you'd come back twice.
Oh, really?
So you had to sign in, sign your name in her logbook, and you had to have a little joke or something, a little riddle or something to tell her and this sort of thing.
Mom would make people sing.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah. Everybody would sing like Happy Birthday or I Wish You a Merry Christmas or something.
Yeah.
Every once in a while you get a fun one. But, most kids are scared to sing.
Oh, yeah. They just want the candy to get out of there. They don't want to have to.
They're embarrassed enough by the costume.
Yeah.
But this is Steve Brown Arts Center Podcast Network. Dale, we haven't talked about the literal elephant in the room, the government shutdown.
Yeah.
All right, who's going to be blamed for this?
Well, they'll blame each other. And I was just thinking, I was thinking today about things to talk about today, and there's lots of them, but they're all depressing. But yeah, I think they'll all get blamed, and I can't understand. They know this is coming months and months and months ahead. They wait for a deadline to get close, and then they try to start doing something. There's a compromise there someplace, but so far nobody's budging an inch. And so I don't understand it because it's just like they have their own little world that they play cowboys and Indians in, and the rest of us are out here trying to survive. And then you got those people in Washington, D.C. that are playing some game that affects all of us, but yet we have no control over. I get very upset. The president's, that blonde lady, his press secretary or whatever, she roasts me. I just don't like her. But they asked her about, the Pope made some comment about President Trump's handling of the immigrants and how, harsh they were with them. And her answer was, well, Biden was president. It was much worse, and that's how she answered it. See? Well, that doesn't get anything done to do that. But, the Pope was quite critical of the administration today and their handling of immigrants, and it's a worldwide problem. I just think every day it's some dumb thing after, it just every stupid day. And so I don't know. So I think if it goes like the last time was, 34 days before they got an agreement, and I think it could very well stretch out like that this time.
President, after he met with Schumer and is it Cory Booker, he came out with an A&I produced meme and made fun of him.
Oh yeah, the one guy in the sombrero.
Yeah, and it is. Here we are. It's president, it's the Senate, it's senators in the House of Representatives. They earn a good living to be there.
Yeah.
Get your job done.
Yeah. They were they called all the generals and admirals from all over the world in for a meeting where you have a draft dodger and the Secretary of Defense, who doesn't impress me as knowing anything at all, talking and lecturing these people. And one of the things, they said they wanted to get all the woke, whatever that is, they want to be the Department of War instead of the Department of Defense. And they want, in training, like the drill instructors could swear at the trainees and also use physical force with them. That's like they used to do it years ago. More on physical fitness. It sounded like they want these generals and admirals all to be able to do 50 push-ups in 20 seconds or whatever. And, at that level, those people, you're paying them for their brains. They've been in the military a long time and they have acquired a lot of rank. Eisenhower probably couldn't do 50 push-ups, but he could plan D-Day, and MacArthur could do all that work he did in the Pacific, and he probably couldn't do 50 push-ups, but because he's an old man then. But still, you're paying for the brain and experience that these people have, and they just implied that if these people couldn't hack it, they should get out. And it sounds to me like he'd like to have his own officer corps that maybe wasn't too fussy about some of the rules and regulations they followed as far as what you can do with federal troops in civilian cities and this sort of thing. So I don't know. Let's see what happens. But it costs a tremendous amount of money. And also, I heard a number, and I won't say it because I'm not positive it was right, but how much it costs if Trump wants the Department of Defense to be the Department of War, how much it costs to tear down signs and make new stationery. It's millions and millions and millions of dollars just to do that, because that's a huge organization. Makes no sense to me at all. So, but yeah, that was interesting that he called all those people in from all over the world and had this meeting where basically they chewed their ass, it sounds like. They just had to sit there and take it, because those are they're generals, but those two people are their bosses. So I don't know. I don't know how it's all going to end up, Jim. But
all right, well, this is Steve Brown Arts Center Podcast Network. What do we have left for the month of October for the Arts Center, Dale?
Well, we have a podcast every Wednesday. Do you know that?
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, we do that. Anyway, available on Mondays after 10 o'clock. And so October 19th, we have this musicians jam session. And I was at and we're not sure where that's, depends probably on the weather, where that's held at. But the last one was outside. It was a beautiful day. Really kind of fun to listen to those people singing, and some of them have songs you have never heard before that are a lot of fun. Yeah. And they just seem to be enjoying themselves so much. And there were several, as I understand, that have been, and others that weren't there at that one. So I'm looking forward to going back again and seeing that. Are the Artists Collaborative still meeting in October? Okay.
We are. We've been meeting at Gedney's at 9 o'clock in the morning, and we get 2, 3, 4 people, and it's just fun to sit down and talk about the art and talk about directions they're headed and things like that.
Sure.
It's a neat thing.
And this LCHS Chili Supper and Art, did that ever come around?
That's Littleton Chatham Historical Society Chili Supper.
That's on Halloween, 31st.
Yeah, the 31st. Yeah. Right now we don't have an artist. It is because of the people go downstairs. It's sort of a house divided.
Yeah.
So we're not sure we're going to do that.
Okay. We're able to change the art at M's then for October.
We are. We did. The wall is showing. You get a chance to see Annika. She is amazing. Annika's a writer. She is a Renaissance person. And she's showing in M's Coffee right now. She'll be there till the end of October. Yeah.
Her grandparents are Dale and Emmy Zook, Jesup people. So that'd be neat. It's nice to see somebody that you know and actually you watch grow up through school and everything. So
and there's a neat thing. Becky Burke from the library called, and the Steve Brown Arts Center has a display case now in the community room in the library where we can show artists.
Oh, okay.
It's just a small 3x4 case, but we're going to show local artists in there. Stand by for news on that.
Okay.
Don't forget our 24-hour Mustang camera sponsored by Joe's Pizza and Independence. Live and showing it every day. Don't forget, thanks to Pat McIntosh, I was introduced to, she gave me another artist from Dewar. I've got to contact her.
Oh, okay.
She is...
Just painting, or?
She is a painter. She's a photographer. She's a mixture of things.
Okay.
I'm so thankful to have these days with you and Blake, Dale. The days that my gratitude outweigh my expectations are mighty good days, and this is a good day.
Well, thank you, and I enjoy it very much. And I know Blake does too. He doesn't say much, but he's a tall, quiet.
He is. If you'd like to donate to the Steve Brown Arts Center, have an idea for an event, go to stevebrownartscenter.org and follow the link. If you have news or would like to sponsor us, email us at jim@stevebrownartscenter.org or call 319-290-0241 and leave a message. Dale, do you have any other announcements that I left out?
I don't think so.
I'm Jim Gillespie with co-host Dale Rueber and producer Blake Tempus. Our thanks, as always, to Kelly C. Haas for getting us in here, and Cowork 591 for allowing us to use their facility and their podcast material. Thanks to the audience for bringing these stray dogs into your life, and remember that each day is about little victories.